Welcome to a new episode of Did You Know? Special Geography. Here we go. The smallest country in the world is the Vatican, right in the middle of the Italian capital, just 0.44 kilometers square with a population of 836. In a desert called Atacama in Chile, there are places where it hasn't rained for more than 400 years.
Damn!
But it seems that the record is held by the McMurdo Valleys in Antarctic, where it is said not to have rained for several million years. There are over 8 billion inhabitants on the planet, speaking more than 7,000 different languages, but the country with the most languages is Papua New Guinea. Russia is so big that it's on 2 continents at once. The country lies in Western Europe and Eastern Asia. The country has 11 different time zones.
What?
Bolivia, Paraguay, Afghanistan, and Armenia are among the 44 countries with no access to the sea. The place where the saltiest water in the world is found is called the Dead Sea, between Israel and Jordan. The water is so salty that it increases its density, making it almost impossible to drown in it. Hey, did you know that the biggest snake ever lived on Earth was called Titanoboa? It was over 14 meters long and 80 centimeters wide, and weighed about a ton. In comparison, the biggest snake in the world today is an anaconda, measuring around 8.5 meters in length and weighing 230 kilograms. Did you know that the deadliest epidemic in history is called the Black Plague? It occurred in the years 1346 to 1353, during which time the disease killed more than 200 million people.
What?
Did you know that this bird is called Limosa laponica, and it's the bird that holds the world record for hours spent in flight without landing? They put a GPS on it so they could keep an eye on it, and it started flying from Alaska and landed in Tasmania. For 11 days, he flew more than 11,560 kilometers without landing.
Damn!
Did you know that Paul Kern was a man who hadn't slept in over 40 years? Paul Kern was a Hungarian soldier in the First World War who was shot in the head. After his operation, it was thought that he wouldn't survive, but after several days in a coma, he woke up, and from that day on, he never had the desire to sleep again, until he died 40 years later. Did you know that this diamond is called Pink Star and is one of the most expensive diamonds in the world? In 2022, someone paid over $57.7 million for it. Okay, in the world, there are diseases really not very well known, but which are really annoying. Here is some of them. Let's start with hypertrichosis, a disease that causes extreme pilocytis in men and women. It's often called werewolf syndrome, and there are no more than 100 cases worldwide. The first man to suffer from it was Petrus Gonsalvarus in the 1580s. Hypertrichosis can be caused by hormonal imbalance and is often hereditary. The second is Stone Man syndrome, or fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. This is a very rare genetic disease which gradually transforms the whole body into bone, muscles, tendons, ligaments, etc. It's a genetic mutation that causes a dysregulation of the cells responsible for making bone in the body. Life expectancy for an affected person is around 40 years. There's no treatment either, and the number of cases worldwide is estimated at 2 million. The third is Proteus syndrome. This is another very rare genetic disease characterized by excessive growth of a part of the body. It is caused by mutation of a gene called ATK1. This gene is used to regulate growth at the cellular level, so it doesn't work properly and the cells no longer regulate themselves. So they start to accumulate in the body, which can cause deformities and serious health problems. There are around 200 cases worldwide, and like the others on this list, there is no special treatment. There are some truly mysterious things in the world that even science can't explain. Here's some of them. The twisted forest in Poland. In Poland, there's a forest in which all the trees are twisted in the middle. We don't know how it happened. Some theories say it's an environmental anomaly. Others say it's the locals who planted them that way, but none of these theories could be verified. The Bermuda Triangle is an area of more than 1,000 square kilometers, which lies between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda. This area has been the scene of several unexplained disappearances. In 1945, 5 U.S. Army planes disappeared in the area without a trace. Then, in 1954, a plane disappeared with more than 42 passengers on board, and long before that, in 1918, a Navy plane disappeared in the area with more than 300 crew members, but no trace of these planes has ever been found. Some theories Authorities say it's a magnetic anomaly that causes the nearby devices to malfunction. Others say it's because of the cyclones that can occur in the area. But the exact cause remains a total mystery. The Nazca Lines. These are giant drawings that can be found in Peru, a place that is also a mystery to scientists. It is estimated that these drawings were made in the ground several centuries ago, but how they were made and with what, we know nothing at all, because to be able to observe these figures, you have to be at least in a helicopter. Flying objects were invented centuries later, so who could have the ability to see them in the sky? That's the million-dollar question. Around the world, there are some truly extraordinary traditions. Here are a few of the craziest. In the Baliam Valley in Papua, there's a tribe called Dani, who have a really special tradition. This tradition consists of having a fingertip cut off as a sign of sadness and mourning when a loved one, father, wife, or child dies. That's why it's not uncommon to come across people missing several pieces of their finger. The state had to ban this practice as it was too cruel. In India, in a village called Musti in the south of Solapur, babies have been thrown into the air for over 500 years. The practice consists of climbing to the roof of a temple at least 65 feet high and dropping the child. Don't worry, there are people below with sheets to catch them, and it is said that in doing so, they give the children protection and chances. There have never really been any accidents, so there's nothing to worry about. In a village called Bunlap in Vanuatu, where a lot of people grow yams, it is said that these people have a tradition called Naghol, to know whether the yam harvest will be good. This tradition consists in building a platform several meters high out of wood, and then someone has to climb on it with a liana in his feet, and then jump into the void. If all goes well, the person isn't hurt. It's a good sign that the harvest will be good this year, but if it ends up on the ground, it's a bad sign. In a single surgery, this surgeon caused the death of 3 people.
What?
Here's a list of people who have died in very stupid ways. Let's go. We start with Philip Contos, an American who died in a motorcycle accident while protesting against helmet use.
Damn.
After his death, investigators said that if he'd been wearing his helmet, he wouldn't have died. Just goes to show, sometimes karma can be instantaneous. In 2019, an Indian named Subhash Yadav died after eating over 40 hard-boiled eggs. He had made a bet with a friend in which he claimed to be able to eat 50 hard-boiled eggs. But unfortunately, on reaching the 41st, he had to be taken to hospital. He died on the way. In the 19th century, a surgeon by the name of Robert Liston was known for his speedy operations. But one day, everything went wrong. He was preparing for an amputation with himself, 2 assistants, and the patient in the operating room. Picking up his knife, he made a sudden gesture and accidentally wounded one of his assistants, who fainted from fright. During the amputation, he accidentally sawed off several of the other assistants' fingers.
Damn.
Afterwards, neither the patient nor the assistant whose fingers he had sawed off survived, both dying of gangrene. The other assistant he had injured actually died of a heart attack on the spot. So this surgeon ended up killing 3 people during an amputation. What a talent! Hey, did you know that some sharks, like white sharks, are unable to stand still in the water if they want to survive? They have to move so that the water can pass through their gills so that they can breathe. If they don't, they're sure to die, so they have to keep moving. Did you know that Leonardo da Vinci's Salvatore Mundi is the most expensive painting in the world? In 2017, it was valued at over $450 million. Did you know that, according to astronomers, there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth? The number is estimated at over 70 sextillions, or a 7 followed by 36 zeros. Did you know that Google was originally called Google? The founders wanted to find a name that would reflect the capacity of their company, so they came up with Google, a mathematical term meaning 1 followed by 100 zeros. But when looking for the domain name, the person in charge made a mistake, thinking she was typing google.com. She typed google.com, and as it was available as a domain name, they decided to keep it. It is estimated that there are more than 3,000 billion trees on Earth. If we were to separate them, each person would have more than 400 trees. Okay, today here are some interesting facts you may not know about the United States. English is not the official language of the United States.
What?
In fact, no language is designated as an official language in the supreme laws of the land. Of the 50 states, 32 have English as their official language. The American Statue of Liberty is a 100% French work of art, sculpted by a French sculptor named Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi. The French gave it to the Americans on the occasion of their 100 years of independence. It became the country's symbol on October 28, 1886. In the state of California, in the city of Francisco, there's a place called Silicon Valley, home to the headquarters of almost every major technology company in the world, including Apple, Facebook, Google, Netflix, Tesla, HP, and many others. From 1776 to the present day, the United States has had 46 presidents, 4 of whom were assassinated while in office. Abraham Lincoln, April 14, 1865. James Garfield, July 2, 1881. William McKinley, September 14, 1901. John Kennedy, November 22, 1963.